Damn Weird. The Wraith. Wraith is a Scots word for ghost. It appeared in Scottish Romanticist literature and acquired the more general and figurative sense of portent or omen. In about 18th and 19th century, the Scottish literature, it was also applied to aquatic spirits. Once living person who was made undead without passing through death. A wraith is the only form of undead that are made so not through animation, which means, through the process of dying and then giving life back to that body. The exact likeness of a living person seen usually just before death as an apparition. A wraith being nearby often was described as shadows in the night. A creature emerged, the temperature drops, the atmosphere darkens, and an eerie chill descends over the land. Suddenly you are overwhelmed with despair and hatred. Be on your guard. A wraith is near. Little is known about wraiths, other than their power of despair. These creatures are a type of Scottish ghost that had a history in black magic and sorcery during its lifetime. Like I've said before, these different types of ghost definitions do kind of vary based upon different cultures. And if cultures have any importance on who you are, it will shape other forms, if they do exist. That's the theory. Wraiths have also been said to be creatures, if you look at some of the oldest literature, they were created when something went wrong in spell casting. This is most often the result of a witch or a wizard who tried to unsuccessfully to extend their life past their normal span through manipulating time or some other form. The result is tragic. In some capacity, they get their wish and they're now immortal beings with incredible power. The price they pay, however, is extremely high. Their souls are taken away and they are condemned to never reach the spirit realm. This is a terrible fate, considering that the spirit realm is often thought to be something similar to heaven in most cultures, and is at the very least considered to be an afterlife. Wraiths are denied this privilege and are forced to wander between dimensions for eternity. Wraiths are soulless creatures and only feel devastating emotion like hatred and despair. They are a type of ghost, but can also be considered to be a sort of a demon. Though there are instances that wraiths can be considered good, a specific kind of wraith known as a Varor, most wraiths are inherently evil. A lot of these definitions and these limitations or abilities are based upon older writings before the 18th and 19th century, when they were kind of, as I was saying, romanticized more. Look at the influence as in The Lord of the Rings. Wraiths are very powerful creatures and are, therefore, extremely difficult to overcome. They can only be defeated by holy presence or holy weapons. Being pure evil, they are not able to withstand the holiness of any kind, and will either be forced to retreat or destroyed by the force. It is important to remember that a wraith be killed if attacked. If a wraith is able to escape, it may become furious that it was attacked and will release its rage upon the world. In some stories, the villages were no longer able to withstand the oppression brought onto their lives by these wraiths. The creatures will take their souls and continue on its aimless journey. Lore tells us that there are several types of wraiths, and most common kind of wraiths that has been described and has an extreme rage that motivates its actions. Some variations of this first type of wraith are incredibly intelligent and capable of holding grudges in their undead state. They will target an individual that they perceive that they have been wronged by, until they have captured their soul and can force them to wander outside of the spirit world for eternity as they do. Second kind of wraith is described as being a parasitic kind of ghost demon. These creatures are demons that inhabit a type of empty space. Different from other demons, they were actually once living people. At least until they can find a human to meld with. However, unlike most creatures who possess, these wraiths do not make their presence known to the victim. It is unlikely that the affected person will ever know that they have been possessed by this, we'll call it a demon in this case. This type of wraith is also not believed to hold any sort of magical power of its own. While it does have more power than a human, it will not exercise these powers over the will of the human, making it very unlikely that the power will ever be discovered. There are, however, a few cases in which humans develop a demonic power within the wraith possession. There is also a variation of the wraith called a Varor. This wraith is also sometimes referred to as a watcher or warden. This type of wraith follows the soul of a person from the time they are born until the time they die. This is the only type of wraith that is not considered malevolent. A majority of wraiths have never been seen in person, though there are some vague details about their appearance that are known. There are some legends that describe wraiths as being dark entities with black cloaks. Their arms and legs are corpse-like and extremely thin. Additionally, the face of the wraith is either skeletal or endless black holes. There are also legends that say the wraiths do not look like anything. They are simply evil entities that occupy any type of empty space they can find. Also, according to lore, some wraiths are parasitic, but not aggressive. They simply look for a host to bond with, human of course, and feed off their energy of that person. They do not try to exert their will over the victim. They simply use the host to survive and to move on when their host dies. While there are some wraiths that are fairly docile, this doesn't seem to be the case for the majority of these strange ghosts. Many wraiths are angered about their condition and the events leading up to them losing their souls. These wraiths are incredibly intelligent and sometimes hunt the people that they hold grudges against. This is done until the soul of the unfortunate victim is obtained and forced to wander as they do for eternity. Wraiths are full of malevolent and ill intent. They are consumed by emotions like anger, despair, and hatred. They live to hunt for unfortunate souls to add to their clan, to wander aimlessly for eternity, taking away hope and desire to live as they go, spreading their own despair. Thank you.